Welcome back, everyone. We're here today on our Motivation and Mindset Monday, episode 2262 of the Cabral Concept. So glad you could join me. Looking forward to getting into today's topic, which actually just came about how most of these shows come about, with speaking with people in everyday life. This time was actually with colleagues of mine, people that are actually running some of the largest wellness and health-based companies in the country. And I had the privilege of actually hanging out with them for a weekend, chatting with them, and really looking to the future as to where the health and wellness-based industry is going. So I love being able to expand my mind, especially with people who are trying to do as much good as they can in the world, run large businesses, again, not putting profit over people, but looking to be able to expand minds and really the overall wellness industry. So this was out in Utah. I was in Salt Lake City. I got to actually travel around a bit, a few friends and colleagues out there as well. Took really good care of me, so I appreciate you. But one of the main themes that kept coming up for me was, after hours, outside a conference, or it was really more of a group meeting, a network meeting, I guess, where we could share ideas. There was not necessarily any one thing in mind. It was simply a coming together. And that's the beautiful thing, because you've heard me talk about this before in the show. It's the more people you surround yourself who want to do more good in their own world, as well as the world at large, the more bright your life becomes, the more energy you have, the more inspired you have. Because when I'm around these people and I see all the big things that they're doing and all the amazing work, it says to me like, hey, there's more I can do. There's more I can try to share and help with people as well. And so again, always love being able to share with these types of groups. But I'll tell you, some of the most interesting conversations happened outside of the conference hours per se. They were over a lunch meeting. They might be over dinner. It could be on a 40-minute car trip. We went south in Salt Lake City. And what I realized was that even though all of these founders, will say, of these different companies were from all around the world, literally all around the world. Yes, most were from the United States in this particular group, but all around the world. And even though all of the businesses were a little bit different, whether it be health tech, health NFTs, health wearables, functional medicine-based programs, integrative health programs like I run online, and it was all digital based, although most of the businesses were radically different, the founders weren't. And that, to me, I'm always looking for correlations. I'm always looking for, success leaves secrets. I believe Zig Ziglar used to say that. And so your job is just to look for the success of others. So if your goal is wellness, if your goal is weight loss, if your goal is anti-aging, if your goal is weight gain, muscle gain, if your goal is relationships or finances or career, success leaves secrets. And so your job isn't necessarily to copy anyone else, but for sure you want to see where the overlap is. So what I do is I say, okay, all of these 6 people we'll say are radically successful. The group I was in was dozens of people. And I would say, okay, 80% of these people seem to have these particular traits or characteristics, etc. Now, for the most part, you're not born with them. So always keep that in mind. We're not talking about, everybody always like to say, well, they're born with that. That's rarely the case. A lot of the founders in this particular group, they weren't necessarily MBAs or anything like that. They were driven with a mission and purpose to accomplish something in service of, again, others. Usually, a lot of people with these companies that are doing good things, they're trying to figure out something for themselves or their family, just like I did. And then you want to share with others. And not only do you want to share with others, but people are asking you for that information. So that is where the success comes from. You're saying like, okay, what are all of these people doing? Or at least 80% of them, right? The 80% rule, which is a little bit different. I have a separate show on that are very successful that I could model against. And I just want to share with you, I'm going to cut right to the chase. It was this, is that no matter who I spoke with, and we're talking about outside of work, outside of their companies, everyone shared very similar characteristics around how they got so much done. And that's the point of today's show, is that all of these people had families. Almost all of them had children. They ran very busy businesses and companies. They had dozens, if not hundreds of employees. Sometimes there were multiple companies. And so when you're looking at it, all of that could literally overwhelm someone, create anxiety, break them down, any one of those things. So how was it that these people were able to accomplish so much and in alignment with their dreams? What I realized was this, that there wasn't a particular morning routine. There wasn't a particular bedtime routine. Not everybody did a sauna at night and did a cold plunge in the morning when they woke up, right? So although there wasn't a particular recovery-based method or sleep amount of a certain time, or there might be a special meal that they always ate, it wasn't any one of those things. They don't all share those same things. What they did share, though, was a very regimented routine. So some people went to bed at midnight. Some people went to bed at 8 p.m. It was all in between. Some people woke up at 4 a.m. Some didn't wake up until 8 a.m. in the morning. But what I realized was that whatever their schedule was, they did it every single day. They were absolutely regimented in when they went to bed, when they woke up, when their meals were each day, what days they worked out, what days they didn't work out. So much so that someone was like, hey, I'm going to go catch a workout. Does anybody want to go? And there was a couple of people who said, actually my weight training day is tomorrow. Today's cardio day or whatever it might be. And so much so that they were unwilling to break that because that is a part of them. That is a part of their schedule. It's what allows them, to be honest with you, to put aside the thought process that I've shared with you many times before. So when a decision comes to you, and when you have a lot going on in your life, like I'm sure you do right now, if you have to think about should I or shouldn't I for every single decision, it just becomes overwhelming. So if you are able to predict, say, this is when I wake up, this is when I go to bed, within a half hour, this is when I eat every single day, these are the meals that I have. And most of the people ate the same exact thing every single day. Most people know exactly when they're going to work out during the day. They know when they're going to get home to their family. They know what days they already have off a month or two in advance. So what they've done is they've controlled for all outside circumstances, for the most part, around their actual work. And here's why. It's called bandwidth. So during the day, you only have so much bandwidth. That means it's like willpower or it's thought process before you get overwhelmed. So if every day you have to wake up and you don't know what time you're going to wake up, you don't know what you're going to have for breakfast or if you're going to have breakfast, you don't know what you're going to wear, you don't know what time your lunch and dinner are, you don't know what time you're leaving work, you don't know what time your workout is, you don't know what your workout is. If you have to decide all of those things during the day, it's overwhelming. So then you have less focus to then be able to use on your actual work. Now, again, please replace work for whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. So if you have to decide all of the things that I just mentioned and many, many more, like when do you read during the day, right? When do you look at social media? When do you answer email? If you don't have that regimented, it just takes bandwidth, which means the more decisions you need to make, the more tabs you have open, right? The slower your computer runs. So if you're able to follow a schedule, which I've now talked about many, many times in the podcast, you're so far ahead of the game. Because now you know when it's work time, you know when it's play time, you know when it's time to eat, you know when it's time to work out. And a lot of people might say, oh, well, that seems way too regimented. That seems so boring. Well, yes, for the most part, the people that I've realized who get the most done, now you don't have to say successful because we all have our own variables for success, right? What we consider successful. Some people are successful at work, but not with family, right? Some people are successful in relationships, but not necessarily with their career. Or some people are great at finances, but they're not keeping their body in shape and healthy. So, like there's all different wild variables on success. But what I would say is whatever success is for you, what's most important for you, if you're not accomplishing in that, it's probably because your time is not able to be focused on that one thing. And so the more time you can focus on the one thing that's the highest priority for you, family, relationships, finances, career, health, body, spirituality, whatever it is, the more time you can spend on it, focus time, like dedicated time, I'm telling you right now, the faster you'll accomplish that goal. There's just no doubt about it. So the goal is to figure out what you want and then to prioritize it. But in order to prioritize it, you need to then what? Declutter everything else. And that was the topic of last week's show. So hopefully you tuned into last week's show, which was episode 2355, because I shared with you then, once you know what it is that you want out of life, you can remove the distractions. And so I taught you how to remove the distractions and get rid of procrastination. But then the next step is regimenting daily life. Because again, the thing is, people might say it's boring, and I totally get that, right? I wear a white shirt every single day. Do I do that because I think that it looks absolutely fantastic? No, I don't. I wear a white shirt every day. It's literally the absence of color, or some people might look at it as it is all the colors of the spectrum, right? In one, which makes white light. But the thing is, I only wear it because it can go with any pair of pants. I don't have to think about it, and I just put it on, and that takes less bandwidth. I eat the same thing every single morning for breakfast. Very few variables for lunch. It might be rotating through 3 different types of lunch, and then my amazing wife cooks dinner at night, and I eat whatever she makes at night. So I don't have to think about that either. There's no snacks really during the day. I might do a second smoothie mid-afternoon before a workout, and my workouts are typically always at 4:30 p.m. So it's like, though, that is my definition of regimented schedule. I go to bed right around 10 p.m., give or take a half hour every single night, and I wake up somewhere around 5:36 every single morning. So it used to be earlier. I used to wake up closer to 5 p.m., but the busier my life has been, the more I realize that although I used to be good with 7.5 hours of sleep, I really need 7.5, 8 hours of sleep now. So it's right around 5:30 a.m. So in bed at 9:30, wake up at 5:30. In bed closer to 10, wake up around 5:45, 6 at the very, very latest. Usually it's still around 5:30, so that day is a 7.5. But all I do is regiment that out. So now that's easy. That's done. So now when I'm at work, I can take care of my work. And when I'm home, I'm present with my 2 daughters, with my wife, with my French Bulldog Moose. And so that is one way to look at it. So the reason why I share this with you today is because I always think that I'm extremely strange and that I just, have a weird viewpoint on life. And that's how I do things. But what I've realized is that working with athletes, working with executives, CEOs of huge, companies, then meeting all of these great founders at this event that I was just at, it's like, wherever it is, whether it's athletics or I've a few friends now who homeschool their children, and so they're very regimented with that. I've realized that everyone who's running an important aspect of their life, who has a set, definitive purpose for what they are doing during the day and what their purpose is for life, they actually make everything else in their life fairly standard and boring. And I share that with you because that might not sound like the most exciting thing to you. But what I would say is, if you have something that's very exciting in your life, then your food choices, again, like Monday through Friday, you can go out, have a nice meal, you can make a nice meal at night, whatever it might be, but your workouts, your whatever, that doesn't have to be the shining point of your day. Now, you're welcome to make it that way. But when I wake up in the morning and when I go to bed, that's not the highlight of my day. I use sleep, I use healthy food to give me energy to then do what it is that I want with my life. So what I would say to you is get really boring with the things that don't really matter, that are there to fuel you, to then allow you to use your gifts, your talents, your purpose, your drive, your philosophy, your mission in life in order to do the things that bring you happiness, right? Because if you can do more of what you want, whether it's taking care of your family, being present with them, looking deeper within for spirituality, or you're trying to improve on your overall health, get everything else. Then again, make your work boring if you're trying to improve your health. Get that regimented so you can go all in on the de-stress protocol, right? The diet, the exercise, the stress reduction, the toxin removal, the rest, the emotional balance, scientifically proven supplement protocols, and that success mindset. Make everything else boring until you get your health where you want it to be. Same with body transformation. If you need to gain 30 pounds, if you need to lose 30 pounds, well, for a period of time, 12 weeks, make everything else really boring. Focus. Now, you'll still do all the other work, but you'll get really regimented on what really matters. And again, you can make this for any part of your life, but I'm telling you right now, everything changes when you know what it is that's important to you. Because then you're willing to say, okay, I need to focus X number of hours per day on these few critical tasks that are going to move me forward in my relationships, career, finances, body, health, spirituality, you name it, right? So once you know that, once you dial everything else in, once you regiment your calendar, you have all of this open space now because you're no longer thinking about what should I wear? What should I eat? When should I work out? What should I do during my workout? It's all done for you. It's already been scheduled. So now all of the thought process, which takes up all the time and stress during our day, it's done. So just, again, try this for 28 days, for 4 weeks. That's it. And then you can always stop if you don't want to. Like, you can choose, but I'm telling you right now, you won't. You'll look for more things in your life that you can call what is called batching and chunking. And I have a previous podcast on that, because what you do is you just regiment everything. So if it doesn't need to be done that day, you don't need to do it that day. Like, so many people, they sit down every day and like pay their bills every single day, or they do these repeating things, which could just be done once a week in a 30-minute time block to save them time. You know, when they wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, well, what should I do today for breakfast? No, take out a little stasher bag or silicone-based Ziploc and put the 1.5 cups of berries or whatever it is in your freezer. Put your daily nutritional support, whatever is right in your shake. So it's all regimented out. So you wake up, you literally put in your frozen berries, your 16 ounces of water, 2 scoops of daily nutritional support, whatever else that you want. And you blend it, you're done. That's 5 minutes. You didn't even think about it though, right? Because you're thinking about the other things that are more important to you in your life, that if you accomplish them, you feel like you're growing. You feel like your life does have more meaning, that it does have purpose. I'm telling you right now, deciding every day what you need to do to eat for lunch is not going to give your life purpose. It's just not. It's just one more thing to think about. And oftentimes you make the wrong choice because you didn't think about it ahead of time. And when you make the wrong choice, you eat the unhealthy food, then you get down on yourself. You get down on yourself mentally, but you're also down on yourself physically, because you know that those foods, they exhaust you. They give you brain fog. They drag you down. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to make sure that you are taking care of you. Now, you're taking care of everyone else at the same time. Don't get me wrong, but it's easier to do that when you're thinking about less things in your life. So, taking a page out of all of the different founders that I was able to meet with, that I got to enjoy so much time with them, really, besides all the brilliance and ideas I was able to gather from them, the biggest thing that I really thought was like, hey, like, we're on the right track. We're on the right track. Like, we can't figure it out all in one day, but if we give ourselves the bandwidth, if we give ourselves the brain space by really focusing on what truly matters and regimenting the rest, well, we can do it all. We all only have, 16 hours per day. The rest hopefully is used for sleeping, right? So we can use that 16 hours, some for work, some for play, for family, for enrichment, for recovery, whatever you'd like it to be. But I do believe you can do it all. I truly do. I believe that you can do it all. I just believe that certain areas need to be pushed aside for a little bit. They're scheduled, they get done, but they are not the focus of your attention. So if you'll give me just 28 days in order to overall move your life forward by focusing on what truly matters to you, I think by the end of that month, you'll be a new person. There's no doubt about it. Others will notice it. You'll see what effect it's had in your life. And I don't think there's anything I don't think that there's any way you go back after that. So hopefully today's show is helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. All the show notes are at stevencabral.com/2362. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you soon.